So this is the audience view.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. Hello. We will begin now, and this is a panel on a Sunday morning. So please excuse any incoherence.
Yeah.
This is the panel that is called
From idea to reality.
From idea to reality, one of the hardest things a person will do as a creator. And we will give you some actionable steps to help you that have helped us and have helped our friends. So we hope it will help you.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it usually starts, I didn't know where to put that slide. So step 0 is at the beginning. Step 0 is, it usually begins with an idea or a kernel of an idea that's just will not leave you alone. That's how people descend into this pit of despair, of creation of a thing.
I've sometimes just had characters like kick in the door of my brain and be like, "Ha, I'm here. Write about me."
That's right. As the point is, you can't. It's got to come out, and it's something that's been nagging at you, and you tell everybody about this idea. By the way, a terrible idea is to tell people what you're going to write, because then the energy that the idea generates in your head, it is expanded on the act of telling about it. And it's like a vent. You release it, and then it's like, I don't have to write about it anymore. I've told people about it. So don't do that to yourself. You can tell people about it as long as you write about it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, ideas come from anywhere. You said a lot of your ideas come from characters.
Yeah, always. The one time that it didn't come from a character in of itself, it came from a prompt that I found just scrolling on Tumblr.
Prompts are great.
Yeah, it was just like it was somebody saying like, why do we always get stories about how evil the villains are? I want to see a story about like a villain who is like causing mischief in the city by day, but then like they get a call in the middle of a fight and be like, crap, I gotta pick my kid up from soccer practice.
Right. They have lives too.
And that got me thinking like superheroes with mundane lives outside of, or supervillains with mundane lives outside of villainy. I love it. I've got a story to work on. And now that's what I'm working on.
She did. That's right.
Yeah.
And the biggest piece of advice before you start the long and arduous journey of creating a thing is write all your ideas down. You think you'll remember, you will not. I guarantee you, like the squishy sand that is in there that we call a brain, it just eats everything.
I have so many notebooks with random, just incoherent.
A+++ maintenance of ideas. All right, so with that, we go into the main bulk of our present. From idea in your head, where they start, to reality in front of somebody's eyeballs. Yeah, we have some experience in getting this in front of people's eyeballs.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we've made some books. Do you want to tell about your work?
Okay, so a lot of my stuff I do online now because I do have a webcomic that I work on regularly. So it's not in print yet. There is an older version of it. I released 4 chapters in these little floppy versions. Those have since been discontinued because
You're working on your first trade, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 200 full color pages and
it's a thick book.
Thick. And this was actually my first published ever comic. It's a little short story about a girl who wants to flower on Valentine's Day. It's sickeningly cute. And I was looking through it before, and I was like, wow, this is really edgy for a kid's comic. Why did I think that was okay? And then I haven't released any comics as of recently in like physical form, but I have released a couple of sketchbooks. So, I guess this one can count as comics because it's just a bunch of little one-panel comics about my Dungeons and Dragons character getting into mischief.
Is it sequential? It's comics.
Yes. Okay, so this is my most recent comic book. It's a
little more free-form than your usual stuff, but it's a comic.
Yes. It follows a theme because it was Inktober related. And it's all my art books are called Melissa's Oodles and Doodles. This one is non-sequential because it's a lot of stuff besides just comics. But these ones are my oodles of D&D doodles because I am a
By the way,
nerd.
note the beautiful handmade binding on this.
Yes.
I love this.
I spent many of hours cutting and folding and binding these together there. Every one is different.
This is the last hand-bound book that I did. My friends and I did a little anthology, 10 years ago.
Did you use the sewing machine?
We used a sewing machine. It was the best.
I have goals.
Yes, it was really cool. So this is Melissa McCommon. She does comics. My name is Svetlana Shmakova. I also do comics. I do them for a publisher. And there's my stuff work. I've drawn a lot of pages over the years. And we're here to give you tips on how to hold the finished product in your hands one day. So it starts with a lot of people come up to us with, I have this idea I want to write. What do I do? And the first step is always,
the first step is get it on paper, because the second that you don't is it's gonna and then write it, draw it, scribble it. There we go. The slide caught up.
Step one, if you have an idea, don't just talk to people about it. You have to actually write down anything. It doesn't matter what, as long as it's related to your idea. It could be satellite stuff that catches your interest in relation to your idea. It could be always a character talking to you. Write the dialogue down, write who the character is. And it doesn't have to be something that took me a really long time to accept is that you have to edit your stuff. You have the stuff you put down, it's not going to be what ends up being in front of the reader eyeballs. No, that's your messy beginning of a process. So whatever you want, whatever.
Get your stuff edited. Otherwise, you'll do what I did and draw 160 pages of comic full color, only to scrap them to start from the beginning.
Yeah, the more R&D you do at the beginning and like really flesh out what you want, the less pain you will endure later by realizing that this is not what I wanted to say.
I act dramatic about it, but I'm really glad I'm doing the redo because it's so much better than what I originally wanted to put out.
And that's what matters. Like it matters that you're happy with what you're saying and what you're putting out. Because in the end, the first person you have to please with your work is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's a very soul-crushing experience. So write, draw, scribble, whatever it is you do about your idea. I have writer friends who they work with artists, and they will, if they have a very specific image in their head, they don't have the training or the practice to draw it, but they'll do, like, anyone can draw a stick figure. So they'll do that. They'll explain and be like, and the stick figure is the character and they do this. So anything goes. Whatever you need to describe what's in your head to another person.
There's a manga called Bakuman, and it's about, I love that series, and it's a really good series. Highly recommend you check it out, especially if you're interested in getting into comics, because it explains it from the manga side of the industry. And what I appreciated about that was there was a guy who wanted to do the writing, and he only wanted to do the writing, and the artist was like, well, you need to do thumbnails. He's like, what? But I don't draw. He's like, that's fine.
So sad.
You need to draw stick figures, but
yeah, you can. Sometimes only a stick figure will do. Like you can write words until you're blue in the face, but sometimes one stick figure drawing will do the job of 10 paragraphs.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to scribble if you're a writer and think you can't draw. If you can write your name, you can draw.
Yeah, and guess what? The more scribbles you do, the better they get.
That's
you're
right.
Doing them and practicing and flexing those art muscles.
Yep. So no story snippets, chaos, doesn't matter. Just get it into a tangible form that you can show another human. Or, if you feel more comfortable with your cat, show them to your cat. But it has to be tangible.
My cat's probably judgmental of my work.
They might try to eat it.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter if the stage is good or not. You're just getting your ideas down. Just the key here is to keep going and producing and filling up the pages, or digital documents.
I have a sketchbook in my car in case I get an inspiration while sitting in the parking lot. I keep a sketchbook in my bag, every one of my bags next to my bed. I keep a sketchbook notebook anywhere so that I don't have to scramble for anything. I have my phone on me, so if I get desperate, I'll write it on my phone, but the chances of me remembering to check my phone are really low, so I try to write everything out, because I'll remember it if I write it. I won't remember it if I type it.
And that's a great point. Different things work for different people. For me, I do have many sketchbooks, and I forget what's in them. Whereas my phone, if I type a note on my phone, there's more chance I'll be able to reference it later. And I do combo the two, actually. Like, I have a notebook that's physical and a notepad that's in my phone. It's always with me, because who here walks around without a phone anymore? Nobody. So yeah, just do it. Just write anything that's related to your idea. Step 2 is once you have a robust body of your idea, you'll likely start realizing that a lot of it is starting to look workable and presentable representational of what you're trying to say. So starting to distill it into something that is not messy chaos of notes. And that's where you're like, I thought this was going to be a short story, but it's looking like it's going to be an epic. I warn against epics if you're starting out, because they just, they turn into lifelong projects that constantly get redrawn. Short stories are a lot more self-contained, and they're really good training tools for you as a creator. Like, you level up faster if you force yourself to complete short chunks of things that have a definitive end.
I actually have 2 short stories that I'm working on right now, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yes.
And they're under 20 pages, which is just confusing for me, because I'm so used to like working on stories that are like, every one of my chapters in my webcomic is 40 plus pages. So anything less than that's like, is that even really a comic? I mean, it is for everybody else, but for me?
To complete a short piece of fiction that's effective, or nonfiction, like to string together a short piece that delivers a story in a short space, is actually very difficult and takes a lot of mastery. So a sign of a maturing creator is being able to complete a short story. So highly recommended.
Yeah.
But long form narratives they feel so good because you can fit all your mess in there.
My favorite part is leaving the volume on a cliffhanger.
Yes, yeah.
Because then I just get all these angry messages. What do you mean I have to wait until the next one? What happens?
Yeah, don't piss too many people off with that. But like any form, you're the writer. This is your thing. So whatever depends on what your goals are here. If you want to, you've created this world that's amazing. You've created these characters, and you just want to play with them. You just want to submerge yourself into their world and walk step in step with whatever it is they're doing. That's totally fine. You can set your goals as chapters. That could be your definitive chunks of because if it's too open-ended, you'll start floundering. But if you said like, okay, stuff has to happen by the end of this chapter, that'll help just getting there. So it doesn't look endless, because it's going to start to eventually, and that's very demoralizing.
I have just pages of like notes where like it starts off as a small idea, and then I start making more notes, and then more notes. I start planning stuff. I scratch things out, and my notebook is a mess. But then eventually I have a workable draft to like go in and script and do all that other fun stuff. So don't be afraid to make your notebooks look messy.
Yep, they will, and that's A-okay. That's what it's meant to be. Don't even bother with that. I just wanted to so for people who are not who don't do graphical representation of their words with it's a little bug.
That's a really big bug.
Oh, that's just a conifer. Sorry, we're like cats. I was like, oh, there's a moving thing. A bug just landed on the window.
I'm gonna take a picture of it.
Good luck. It's got a mesh in there. I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's right, Twitter notes. So yeah, for I mean, obviously people who do sequential art, write or draw. Um, this might work too. I've seen people write entire novels in tweets, and they've been, nail-biting suspense. Like I was hanging on every word. So that's a good, a really interesting format for short stories too. It doesn't have to be long.
My friend and I have been role playing a story for the last 3 years, and it's now up to almost 900 pages of just dialogue. We want to make it a comic for some god awful reason. I say god awful. It's gonna be so much fun.
It will take you decades.
Yeah.
I mean, that's commitment. But many forms that a work can take. Step 3. Boop. This is where we take a little side trip and we talk about. Oh, I go first?
Nose goes.
Nose goes. Okay. Wait, does that mean you go first or I go first?
Nope, you put your finger in your nose.
Ah, all right. So process is a very personal, intensely personal thing. I love reading how-to books. I collect them.
So do I.
Because something that I've realized a little later than I should have, but everybody does things differently, and there's no there's some mechanics that overlap, but everyone's approach is different. So you find tidbits in those books that some work for you, some don't. But when you find a tidbit that works for you, it makes your life easier. So my process used to be I would write a script, kind of like the way that Marvel and DC writers do, where there's a name, there's what they say, there's a scene description, and then I would do thumbnails for that. This makes sense if it's a writer and artist, but if you are the writer and artist in one, it's actually better to and in a way faster to start with what I call storyboards. What everybody calls storyboards, and I'm just going to quickly show. This is what these are actually pretty well drawn for my storyboards. A lot of times, oops, can they see that? Oh, yeah, there's the camera.
Yeah, if you let the camera focus, it'll actually focus on your screen. There we go.
Yeah, I hope people can see that. But it's basically a rough layout of what the page will look like. And this almost looks like rough pencils. Usually my storyboards are stick figure people because I throw out a lot of storyboards. If they don't work, they're garbage. They go into the trash can and I redraw them from scratch to make sure that the flow is good, that the story reads well. And the benefit of drawing storyboards for me is I get to see the story before I've invested, decades of my life into drawing final pages, and then realize that, well, this story isn't working. So I write with both words and pictures when I shape a story, when I distill my headspace mess into a tangible form. I go straight to storyboards. Sometimes I'll do an outline beforehand, and I found that my outlines never stand the test of actual storyboarding. Mm-hmm. They're good R&D spaces, but my storyboards usually look the polar opposite of what my old outline said they would be, and that's fine. You will find your story as you write it, as you work on it. That's how it works. And your process?
You told me about the storyboarding portion, and I've actually switched over to doing that. And
isn't it so much better for final product? It's just you were able to see all your mistakes, and it's not my idea. I didn't come up with this.
Praise be, but you told me about it.
I am the one who passed on this crucial piece of information.
My 10 years of doing this profession, nobody ever told me that was an option.
It's not a thing that's mentioned. Like the established norm here is, there's a script and then you illustrate it. But storyboarding is just, it's also a lot more painful than scripting and illustrating. But it gets the final product to be better.
Yeah, so. I still do a bit of scripting, but I don't it's not as tight as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of just
It's more like a hybrid. Yeah.
It's more for dialogue, so I can go in and copy and paste the dialogue into my pages after the artwork is done. But I do thumbnails as well. I try to draw them traditionally because just digital thumbnails bother me for some reason. Just like the act of doing it digitally, I
prefer by hand.
Pencil.
Digital allows for greater freedom to fix things that didn't go right.
Yeah.
So like.
So these are some thumbnails for that superhero story I was talking about. These were the first thumbnails I ever did, and I was working with the script. And I ended up, because I got a challenge from Svet to, yeah, Svet gives me challenges. That's great.
Challenge produces growth.
I scrapped all of those thumbnails and I restarted, and they're not as pretty, but these are drawn on 9x12 newsprint.
Yeah, are they really thumbnails?
Kind of. I mean, I wasn't afraid to throw them away, but there were some.
No, I mean, are they thumbnail size?
Oh no, they're
yeah, they're this big. They're like, I would call these storyboards.
Yeah, because you were like, I want to be able to read it. I'm like, well, I can't write really tiny, so I guess I'm doing word balloons. Yeah. And so I went and did this way, and I'm actually starting on the sketch phase now. So I'll get
awesome.
I got distracted though because I couldn't go to sleep a couple of nights ago because I had this nagging like thing in my brain being like, you need to do a zine about this very specific cooking spice that you love to use, because people say vegetables are disgusting. They've just never used this spice before. So I then woke up at 5
Did you put it in your idea folder?
It's already it's thumbnailed out, and I've already started sketching. I've got 2 pages already done where I break into somebody's house and critique their cooking. So coming to my Patreon real soon. So feel free to check.
Will you post the process?
Yes.
Okay. She will post the process on her Patreon.
They've already got the thumbnails. They're gonna get sketches sometime next month because I'm gonna do it in batches. But
I mean, that's even better than how-to books. Watching somebody make a story in real time. Like, I don't know if you aren't following artists, you should be. You'll find just stuff that will help you, and it's just inspiring to see somebody make a thing.
I love Twitter because of all the artists that are on there, just starting conversations and like sharing processes and stuff like that. And that's my bread and butter. I love reading through those. I spent all morning reading this Twitter thread about this artist who had a really bad business dealing with the convention, and just so much nuggets of gold like from that on like dealing with clients and processes and stuff like that. And there was artwork and other things attached, and it's just learning experience. That person's been a like working artist in LA for years, and they were still like, look, nobody is immune to things like this happening. So I want people to learn not to make these mistakes.
Twitter can be great.
Yes. Also Instagram, although Instagram's been bothering me because of the algorithm, the forbidden algorithm. Thank you, Facebook and Instagram, both owned by the same company.
Yeah, don't obsess too much about that. That will not help you write. What will help you write is watching other people's processes and writing, even when just sitting your butt down and writing. But yeah, there's different methods. There's scripting, there's storyboarding.
YouTube is great.
They've been doing text, like one person writes a text and then the other person so they did a sort of a tandem story. That's the 900-page one. Yeah. You can mix it up. Sometimes you just need to jumpstart creativity by switching up methods. If scripting isn't working, try storyboarding. If storyboarding isn't working, try outlining, try text writing. I switch between different methods because I am chaotic, and I need to switch a lot between methods, and maybe you do too, or maybe you'll find one that works like gold for you.
I have to switch between projects because I get bored. It's really bad for productivity, but if my brain starts to melt, then my projects don't look good.
And yeah, sometimes you need a break, and actually I think that's our next slide.
Boop.
Step 3 is really important that a lot of people can get past, and that's don't quit. I mean, it's important to maintain some sort of pace, just so you don't lose momentum and don't forget, like, what was my story about? But sometimes it is beneficial to take a break from a story. Sometimes you get stuck so badly that a fresh perspective is required. It's needed. And you can pause and restart as much as you want, as long as you come back to it and remember that you do want to finish this. You don't want to quit on this project. And it also helps, having that fresher perspective. You come to it almost like a different person.
Yeah.
You did that with the superhero story.
I did, yeah, because I thought, like, the script and everything, I thought it was brilliant. It was 12 pages of pure, like, yes, this is good. And then you told me to just try redoing it. And then it went from 12 pages to 18 pages, and it was, like, leagues better.
But you took time because I mean, you have to give yourself distance, because when you're reading it first, you're reading it as the creator, and you're seeing what you meant to say. After you've put some time and space between you and that act of just pure creation, you're starting to read it as a reader. And then you're like, oh, this is not coming across as what I wanted it to be. Like, and this pacing could be smoother. And do I really need this panel? That's when you start to look at it more.
There's too much dialogue here. How can I simplify this a little bit?
Yeah, you get into the editor mode, which are two good modes. There's the pure creative vomit mode, and then there's the editing mode. That takes a little time to get into.
I took those thumbnails and I put them away for like 2 weeks and then came back to them.
Which is a good time.
Yeah, that was really good, because I wasn't obsessing over it. I wasn't going like back to check on it. Like, maybe I'll just work on it now. I'm feeling the itch. Nope, it was put away, out of sight, out of mind, and then pulled it out again to work on. Yeah. So that's a good thing to do. Oh, also a good thing to mention with the maintaining a healthy pace. Watch out for the like tunnel vision. There's nothing else in this world but work. That has its own pitfalls.
Yeah.
Mostly to your health. I was one of those.
Your social life.
Yeah, your social life too. I was one of those people that I was.
To your health.
Yeah, I was working 24/7 on stuff. I actually ended up in the hospital because I worked too much once. So, don't do it. If you have friends that you notice doing this, take them out for coffee or something. Get them to step away. It's really important to take breaks. If you hyper focus on something for too long, your work will suffer for it, and your body will suffer for it. So, healthy pace is good.
Pace, yeah. Take breaks, just as important as getting it done.
Yes.
So yeah, can pause and restart as much as you want. When it feels like this is impossible to get done, just do a little thing. Write a line of dialogue. Think about a scene.
Ink one panel.
Ink one panel. That's right. Or do a character sketch. Do a satellite character sketch. Inch. Sometimes it's an inching process.
Yeah, I've had so many times where like I'm working on my webcomic and it's a long form comic. I'm like, I'm never gonna get this done. I'm gonna die before this comic does. But
here you are, so close to finishing 200 pages. Trade paperback.
When I have those moments of doubt, I'll just go and be like, okay, look at this page. What is one thing that you can do on this in the next 10 minutes? More often than not, that 10 minutes turns into like a 4-hour work session, and then I have the inks for a page done.
Yeah, sometimes you get into it because you started. Inertia is a huge thing in all human tasks, including art.
Yes, this information definitely applies to everything, not just comics. Comics is specifically where we have the most experience in, but all of this advice can be used for anything.
Yeah, even outside art, but I mean, we're talking creative pursuits specifically, but really, the trick to getting anything done is breaking it up into chunks that it almost feels silly to not even try to accomplish, like just breaking it down to absolute minutia.
I have a very helpful thing, and I know what slide I want to talk about it on, so I have a very helpful goal setting information for that, so I'm very excited.
And I forget what number 2 is now.
Sorry.
Getting things done. Oh yeah, breaking it down to teeny tiny bits that feel silly not to do, and then just sitting your butt down and doing it. Just start. you'll be surprised how far you get if you just start.
Yeah. Beta readers, definitely get somebody who will read through your stuff, and very important thing, not just I'm trying to think of the nicer way of saying it because I only know the like really messed up way of saying it. They will give you advice that will be helpful to you instead of just constantly telling you, yeah, this is fine. Like we'll actually give you constructive criticism because for me specifically, when I ask somebody like, hey, can you look this over and let me know if there's anything that could be improved on or something. The most stressful or frustrating thing for me is getting somebody to read something and they're just like, it's okay. It's like,
it's not a beta reader.
That's I don't use those people anymore. Yeah. I want somebody to look through and be like, I really liked this part. I feel this part could have been a little stronger. Maybe if you just reword this, I think it'll improve the flow. Great. So far, really great start. I value that way more than just somebody saying, it's nice, it's okay. I appreciate those comments. They're nice, but when I'm specifically seeking criticism or ways to improve, I want critique. I want somebody to help me like point out. Like you did that with my storyboards. I asked you if you could look them over and like tear them to shreds, and you didn't. But you did give me some like. There was one area in particular. You're like, this part. It's not really resonating with me. I'm not sure how you fixed it, but you might want to.
That's your job to fix it. You're the writer.
Yeah, so
my job as a beta reader, and like when I give my stuff to someone whom I consider to be my sole beta reader, like an invested beta reader is what I wrote, and that's what I mean. Someone who's invested in your work, someone who's invested in helping you get your vision across in a way that lands. So it has to be somebody with an understanding why they don't like a thing, why they like a thing, and also an understanding that, just because they don't like this thing doesn't mean that's bad.
Aware of their own bias.
That's right, aware of their own bias. So like somebody who is, and I mean, I realize I describe a rare person, but they do exist. And if you find a good beta reader, hang on to them. But it is important to have some sort of, some form of accountability, be it for your, budding fan base, or even my sister was for the longest time my number one fan when I was, 16 and writing silly snippet comics. She would read them and ask for more. And for a while, that was the only reason I drew more of the thing. And then I gave up. I was like,
Aww.
Betrayed by my own sister. I lost interest. And, she was left hanging. Sorry, Sasha.
I'm also a very respectful person. So I had a few people in high school who were like, oh, you can't make it in comics where I'm like, just watch me mix books. Not the most healthiest way, but
yeah, that's not a healthy motivation.
Man, did I get pages done though?
Yeah.
I've also redone that comic, so that is not the best.
Tread with care down that path.
Use that bad criticism to fuel. Like they say I can't do this, but I can because I believe in myself.
Yeah, do it because you believe in yourself. That's a good takeaway. Yeah, guilt also, don't overdo with guilt, because guilt can become all-encompassing and anxiety-inducing. So like a healthy amount of guilt is good. Yeah. A non-healthy amount of guilt should just take a hike somewhere really far.
Yeah, definitely don't let people guilt you into working on something Absolutely. That you're not like maybe you start a project and it's just not, you find out it's not what you want to be working on or feel that you should be working on, and somebody trying to bully you into doing that. Like I had a commissioner that was particularly like that. Don't let them bully you. Don't let them guilt you into doing something you're not happy with.
Yeah, in the end, you're
life
the creator.
Is too short.
You're the creator. It's your life. It's your project. All the decisions are yours and yours alone. So step 4, after you don't quit, you'll be so good at this. You will not quit. You will maintain a healthy pace. And
you will surround yourself with supportive people.
Surround yourself with supportive people that call you out on BS if you need to be called out. Step 4 is another, I mean, technically it's step 3A, or 3B, I guess. But having a goal to work towards, be it, I'll just do this one page,
Mhm.
or I'll just write this one page, or write this one chapter. Having some sort of milestone to work towards really helps with motivation, because like you're floundering in the sea of notes and ideas, but you have this one solid thing to reach for, and that's I want to write, end of chapter 1. I really
Yeah.
want to write that. So that's having a goal or milestone in mind as you flounder is helpful. And then, if it starts to seem unattainable, it's like, I'm gonna write a book, and you're still on, page 3 of script.
Mhm.
It's okay to change that goal to, I'm going to write 10 pages and see where that takes me, and maybe then I write 5 more pages, or word count goal, whatever goal will help you keep producing. That's what your goal should be.
So I have two things that I want to share on goal setting, because I am a huge goal setting person. Like, my bullet journals are full of goals that I'm working on, and I have two concepts that are very helpful. One is called SMART goal setting, and it's an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. And so how that works out is specific. It defines a clear and specific goal. Like, my goal is I want to go to Japan. I've been wanting to go to Japan for years. Measurable. Make sure that you can track the progress. When do I want to go? What would be the best time to go? Attainable. Create a goal that is realistic. I can go to Japan. People go there all the time. I see travel blogs. So how do I do it? I need to plan for how much it's going to cost, where I'm going to want to go, how long I want to stay, and then relevant. Ensure your goals align with organization. So I have lists of like all the things that I need to look up, how much money I need to save, when would be the best times to check it out, and all sorts of stuff like that. And then time bound, I've started making goals based on that. So it's I want to go to Japan in 2023 for my 30th birthday. And I've broken out the goals of I want to be able to go through there and like not have to rely on a translator or whatever. So I'm practicing every day so that I can learn Japanese by the time I turn 30 and can navigate there. And I'm saving up money to do this specific thing. Japan's the first thing that popped into mind. It doesn't really have to do with comics right now, but that popped in my head because that's
unless you do a comic about your trip to Japan.
You know what?
It's a research trip.
It is a research trip, and actually, depending on when I decide to go,
you can do a travelogue of your everyday for your patrons.
Yes.
Subscribe to her Patreon
and
when she's 3.
Yes. And if depending on when I go, I might be there during Comic Ket, and I've already looked up how to register for a table there. So maybe that's the thing that I'll do. If I'm there during Comic Ket, I'll exhibit at Comic Ket for a day. So to break down the SMART goals even better, you have your big, huge goal. I want to get a book out. What kind of book? Then it breaks down into, okay, you want to get a book out. What kind of book? I want to get a comic book out. Okay, next step down. You work on your writing and everything, and then you work on. I'm trying to find an infographic for it that explains it so much better. But
I think you explained it really well. You break it down, like what will it take to do this step, and then what will it take to do the step that precedes the step, and until you get to a thing that you can start now.
So the superhero comic. My goals that I started in June was I want to get all the sketching for this done in July. It's 18 pages. I can sketch out like 3 pages in a day. So I gave myself plenty of time to work on this. So then I broke it down into I need to get at least 3 pages a week sketched for June and July. And then I want to have all the inking done before September. And then I want to have the completed comic in time for December. And that's
check in with her in December to see if she has accomplished these goals. Yeah. Or there will be some goal posts moved. So as I listen to all this, goal setting is great. It will get you to do at least something.
It gets me pumped, like after I get the thing for sure. It's like I'm gonna start working.
Yeah. For stuff like script writing, like I'm still writing the script for my book. I had to restart because the first 70 pages of storyboards that I did were going in a non-viable direction, and I had to just cry and rip them up, and I restarted. It's what had to be done, and that's when time becomes irrelevant. I mean, it's relevant because the book's got to get done, and there's people waiting for it. But at the same time, it's very difficult to time, and guilt trip myself because, like, for me personally, I can either write fast or I can write well. There is no middle ground. So again, you'll have to figure out something that works for you. Don't be hard on yourself. This is really difficult stuff. Writing is hard. Creating is hard. If it wasn't, everybody would do it.
Mm-hmm.
So set those goals. Next slide. How are we doing on time?
We're doing pretty good. We have 15 minutes.
Oh, great. Okay.
So I'm gonna look up that other goal setting thing while you start this one.
Oh, they can find that. Let's talk about our tools.
Oh,
Ha 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 ha.
Oh no, you got me. My weakness. Okay, so I have been using an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. Svet very kindly let me use hers once, like 3 years ago, and then as an early Christmas gift to myself, I invested in one, and I made sure to get the big one because I like working big, and I love it. It's great. I
hate to say it, I would recommend the big size over the. I used to be the tiny surface person, but that's a good size for drawing, especially storyboarding.
Oh yeah, I love this for drawing comic pages and stuff because it's perfect sized, and also great for streaming. So I'll watch Netflix on it sometimes when I need a break from comics. It's like perfect size. You can get them refurbished for a pretty good price. This is the second generation one, and I got it on Amazon like 3 years ago with the pencil, the case, a keyboard, and a bunch of other extra stuff that I got with it. It was like $1,000. I looked into getting the newest brand new one that came out, and it was almost like $2,000 just for the new iPad Pro. And they've since come out with another new one, and it's even more expensive than that. So don't be afraid to get refurbished. I've had pretty good luck with refurbished. And you know what? If you're getting into comics, there's not a lot of money in comics. So don't be afraid to be cheap. Oh, and then I also have affordable.
Yeah. Don't buy cheap tools because they will not work, as you found out. She got was it an off-brand computer? It was like broken out of the box.
Yeah, and I had to fight Best Buy, but I eventually got a computer that works. I love it. It's a Lenovo. I got a gaming computer because gaming computers have the specs that my art programs use. So with this, the iPad Pro is for when I'm traveling or I'm going someplace and I don't want to bring my big setup. But like in my home office, I have a 22 HD XP Pen graphics tablet. It's a really good tablet. I got it on sale for like $600. It's like this big. It's huge. I love it. And XP Pen, highly recommend it. It's like the Wacom tablet, the Wacom Cintiq, but it doesn't have that $3,000 price tag.
Yeah.
So
money.
Highly recommend. And then with my computer, I have a gaming chair with it's like a little lumbar massage thing. So I'll just sit at my desk for hours. It's great. It's got a little footrest so I can prop my feet up so I can sit in all the awkward positions because I can't sit like a normal person.
Try to avoid that because it's terrible long term for your spine and all your bones. Also, you can get blood clots if you don't move.
I just uncrossed my legs.
Yeah, good idea. Is that all?
Oh, I use paper pencils. I have an enormous amount of Copic markers. I'm also Copic certified before they stopped doing that. So I teach about how to use Copics. Also, my favorite supplies just to use for what's the word? Like research and development is just generic mechanical pencils with Crayola markers and a water brush because I can make little watercolor designs with the markers, and you can find Crayola markers anywhere. I used to teach my kids I used to be a elementary school, like after school care teacher. I show my kids how to use the watercolor trick with the Crayola markers, and they thought it was straight up witchcraft. It was great.
It does look very impressive.
And yeah, that's it would take too long to go through all the amount of art supplies I have. I hoard art supplies. It's a very bad habit. But on the plus side, whenever any of my friends need art supplies, they don't need to go buy it because they know I probably have it.
Yeah, just come over to Melissa's and get it. Okay, my turn. So I actually, I too hoard art supplies, but shockingly, I don't use any of them. Everyone is shocked, right? I mean, we're hoarders. We're not actually users of art supplies. The cheaper, I found that the less money I pay for paper, the more chance I'll use it. So I draw on inkjet paper. A lot of times for previous books, I would just print a template for my storyboards on inkjet paper, and I'll sketch on this.
I love that.
Yeah, and basically, I mean, imposter syndrome is very strong. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry; it just stays with you. And my imposter syndrome manifests in I can't put my scribbles on this nice paper. I have to make it nice, and it's a huge mental hurdle for me to get over. And sometimes I don't. So I have a lot of really nice blank sketchbooks. But what does get filled up is stuff like this. I mean, it's just it's a notebook for college. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Okay, but I love just the nostalgic feeling of pen on
Yeah,
lined
and
paper.
just a pen will force you to not care about mistakes. Also, I mean, who care about making mistakes on lined, you know, newsprint paper?
Ooh, another good cheap drawing option is newsprint. You can get newsprint for like dirt cheap at most art supply stores. My favorite.
It comes too big a size for me, so I actually.
I get it 9 by 12.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. That's new information to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll use for sketching. I will use anything that's cheap, and I feel like if I mar it with my scribbles, it's okay. No one's going to judge me for destroying a nice piece of paper. And then I also use. I have moved into Apple. I use an iPad for some sketches, and I use a. I have a MacBook Pro now with a Wacom screen that's attached. It's a small one because I like to be portable. My life is chaos. I have to go places, and I want to be able to take my work with me.
Mm-hmm.
But my early like DramaCon, I drew.
Release the brick.
Release the brick.
The first brick.
Oh, it's too heavy. All right, so this like most of this book was drawn. The first one definitely, maybe even the later ones too. No one remembers them anymore, but it was a big desktop that was not very fast. I mean, it ran Photoshop, and that's it. And the tiny Graphire, which is a novice level Wacom tablet.
I remember that tablet.
And that's what I drew my first book on. That and just scribbles on cheap inkjet paper. So it's really you can buy expensive stuff. See if it works for you, but it really doesn't have to be. The other thing that like the only thing you would need an expensive, well, not expensive, but like if you would pay for a computer is getting your work, if you want print specifically, if you're working towards having your work in print, web resolution is 72 dpi. It'll look great on any screen. It will look CRAP in print. So for print, it has to be 300 dpi or higher.
Minimum 300.
Minimum 600 is probably the better bet.
I've been drawing all my prints at 600 since you recommended it, and I love it.
Yeah, because then you can change your, like, if you want a bigger size.
Oh, it's so crisp.
So yeah, and for drawing programs, we have both used Photoshop in the past. You already use Clip Studio Paint now.
I love.
I just downloaded. I'm going to switch.
The only thing that sucks about Clip Studio is their text options.
Now
But
you tell me.
that's the only thing, and I
All right,
just
these
made it work.
tutorials
Yes.
on it. It's something we use. There's problems with all of them. Nothing
Mhm.
is ideal, but some are more helpful than others. Like Clip Studio has the advantage of Clip Studio Paint is you can set up your entire project there from start to finish, and it'll export it for you in a handy dandy EPUB format. Can you switch to the next slide? Which will help you publish it very easily.
I can't has a book now.
I can his book now. That's right. You can. We will show you some examples of. This is our self-published stuff. Like I did anthologies with friends. These are publishing examples, printing examples from Lulu.com. POD is print on demand. So if you wanted to have a book. Oh, I think we're gonna get a visit. Hello. Who wants to meet my son?
Hi, buddy.
Hi, you want to say hi to everybody? We're almost done.
This was done through a company called KERNEL Printing. They're out of Pennsylvania. I believe really good work. That guy's super awesome. I can't wait to get my next book.
Hey, buddy. You gonna say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
Good job.
Precious child.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. Methods of delivering in front of eyeballs really are many. I mean, if you want to sell it, you can put it on Amazon. Lulu.com has their own dedicated space. You can do print on demand. You can try submitting it to a publisher. You would need an agent for that. That was a whole other panel we did yesterday.
Work for free.
Don't work for free, unless it's a passion project. And webcomic form, there's many different sites. Tumblr has a template that will display your webcomic in a webcomic form.
I use Comic Fury. I used to use SmackJeeves, but then SmackJeeves moved the way of Webtoon into Pastic, which didn't really work for my types of comics that I wanted to do. So I highly recommend Comic Fury. If you know like a basic amount of coding, you can customize your website to fit your comic. Where did he go? You can make it work for you. So I highly recommend Comic Fury. It's free.
Where can I go, Mama?
I've seen people post comics on Instagram and Facebook also, so that's a perfectly okay place. But be careful because some websites have the sneaky little thing in their terms of agreement where if you post on their website, then they own rights to it. So read the fine print. Oh, where did he go? All right.
Wait, does everybody know where Caden went? I think he's under the table. Do people have questions?
Yeah, 4 minutes for questions. Let me pull up the chat. I don't know what that noise was.
Oh, thank you.
You have a water delivery system. Let's see. Here's the Zoom chat. Look at the little dude. Hey, little man. People say hi, Caden.
People are saying hi, Caden.
The comic about the Grim Reaper. I don't know. I haven't heard about that one. There is a webcomic that's on Facebook that I've checked out a few times called I think it's called Beelzebubs. It's about this metal band that is, and like they live in a gothic world, and I find it absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend. Do you think in words, pictures, voice, full motion video, or something else? Same question to how you dream. I see, you know, when I'm thinking about my comic stuff like that, I see it like an anime. And when I'm trying to figure out the panels, it's like I'm pressing pause on the anime so that I can get it drawn out on paper, and then I resume watching the movie. Dreams are definitely the same, where it's like I'm watching an animated movie. How do you think in words, pictures, voices, slow motion, video, anything else? Bonus question: how many is it in like a different language than English?
So I think in soup.
What flavor?
It depends on the day. I don't. Sometimes I don't think I think in words. So it's not when I'm trying to think of dialogue. That's when it's in dialogue these days. It's mostly English. But everything else, it's more like foggy concepts. So they're not exactly images. They're more like
Ideas.
Yeah, like forms in the fog. They're very, very, very multi-dimensional. Like it's not an image, a conventional image. So my head is a mess.
Yeah. Whose head isn't?
People who think in anime, obviously. Jeez, I wish I could do that.
Yes, you write the name in there for this Grim Reaper comic. It's the like conversations with the something. It has a lot of animals in it. Yes, I'm aware of it. Yes, I read it. Yes, it punches me in the feels every time.
I don't think I've heard of it.
It's we have like 30 seconds left.
30 seconds. I think we're good
Thank
for questions, huh? Is there any more?
What band should I look up? I've been really obsessed with this J-rock band that I know called. You want me to pick you up later? I'll pick you up later.
We're almost done, baby. Can you
Go
play with that?
I lost the name. It's this J-rock band called One Rock, I think. I've been really enjoying their work. There's also another band that I have been absolutely obsessed with. Oh my goodness. I'm like looking through my YouTube now. It's not coming up. No, don't play Bo Burnham right now.
Is it the one with Lady Beard?
No, but
That's the only one I know.
That's an excellent one. Oh, it's this really good song. I think it's in this playlist. Do not play the song right now.
Lady Baby?
Oh, Lady Beard is
No, this is Lady Baby. Oh, Lady Beard.
Lady Beard. Oh, The Pretty Reckless is good. There's like a very specific song that I'm looking for. It's called. I know the song is called Weapon. I've been obsessed with it. Weapon. Oh, is it Against the Current? Yeah, Against the Current. Weapon. I've been obsessed with this song. It is so good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I haven't listened to the other songs, but yeah, I love that song. There's a song that I mentioned in my character design panel called You Wear a Crown But You Are No King by Bless the Fall. So if you really want to scare people, just blasting it out on the radio, highly recommend. Very good song. The lead singer goes from like screamo to like really nice vocals, and that transition just makes my heart skip.
All right. Yeah. On that note, musical note.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone who tuned in.
You can follow me online at Art by Melissa M on everything.
You can't find me online. I have online places, but I don't go there. So sometimes you can catch me at a con.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Port Con Maine, for hosting us, and I hope people enjoyed our information. And go do the thing. You can do it.
Go do the thing. I'm gonna go do the thing now because I have pages to sketch. I am hyped up and I'm ready to get to work.
Okay, join Melissa in the creation world.
Yeah, actually, if you follow me online, I do live streams where you can see me working on stuff. So
yeah, she's got a Patreon where you can watch process stuff and.
Yeah, actually, I'm posting up a speed draw soon. So Patreons are gonna get to see fun stuff.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and have a good rest of con.
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and close the Zoom. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.